Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, boxing and MMA fans from around the world. Introducing from Bassett, California, the third man in the ring, Popeye Ray.
Hey, welcome to Third Man in the Ring. I'm your host, Popeye Ray. Today I have another great interview. But before we start, get on YouTube, guys. Subscribe. Go on Patreon. Subscribe. It's only $5 a month, man. Check it out. But today, you're going to recognize this trainer. We're at his gym, Raincross Boxing Gym in Riverside. This guy has trained from kids to professionals. He's brought us probably the most action-packed Chicano heavyweights in the world, Chris Arreola. So you already know who I'm talking about. To the kids. So you're going to recognize him. I know you will. Give him a warm welcome to Henry Ramirez.
What's up, bro?
Thank
What's
you.
going on,
Thank
man?
you for coming on my show.
Thanks for
Say hello,
having me. Thanks for having me.
So you got a beautiful gym here, Henry.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's we've been in this building for right around 4 years now. We moved in during the height of COVID, actually. We moved in during
okay.
COVID and
It's got everything in here, huh?
yeah, two rings, two full rings, 24 by 24, 18 by 18. I think like 15 bags, weights, treadmill, so we make do just fine.
So if the kids want to come here, what do they got to do? Where are you located?
So we're located in the city of Riverside on Chicago 2060, Chicago Avenue, city of Riverside. The amateur program, we start at 5 p.m. daily, Monday through Friday. Obviously, when the kids are competing, they train 6 days a week,
Yeah.
We have amateurs of all levels, from 8, 9, 10-year-olds to kids who fight at the national stage who are about to turn pro. And then obviously during the morning, we have, I think we have 13, 14 pro fighters here. So,
And you know what, fans? That's what made me want to interview Henry, man. You have the love for boxing, bro. That some guys, and I'm not gonna mention no names. Some trainers, I ain't got nothing for amateurs. It's all about making money. Henry does this out of the love of boxing, bro. He's got a few good amateurs, and you know what? That says a lot about Henry. That he'll do that for the kids to bring up the kids, and then if they want to turn pro, and again, he's brought us Chris Arreola, man. This guy's an action. He brings it every time. Yeah. Am I wrong or am I right? Chris brings it, man. But hey, Henry, so if they want to come, they just come and sign up?
yeah, no. So usually like when people, a lot of it's word of mouth, or sometimes it's kids that are moving from another gym. But we'll just say someone off the street usually will get contacted, usually on social media. A parent will be like, hey, I'm interested in bringing my kid down. I have them come. This is what I do, right? So I have them come for about a week. I'll have the parent bring them, explain to them A to Z what the risks are involved in boxing, even amateur boxing at 8, 9, 10, and 11 years old. I explain the risks that are involved. And then I kind of sit with the parents and also make them understand, now look, when you bring a child here, you have to sit and let them be coached. You have to allow them to be ours for those 2 hours. You can sit, you can watch, you can encourage, but you cannot coach. Not 1%, nothing of coaching. Because I tell them,
it's going to come up to a couple of questions.
Of course. I tell the parents, and the reason we hit on this right away is because I'm having to have this conversation with parents right off the bat. Like, say we're starting with a kid, and we have an area where the dads kind of all sit and kind of hang out. And when the kids spar, I'm fine with them coming closer to the ring. They want to get up close. But what I don't like is when a parent starts going towards the bag, trying to give instruction. I tell the parent, hey, come over here. Don't let them be coached. That's our job. And if a parent doesn't seem to want to get that, they're going to take the attention. The time that we're going to invest in the kid is not going to be what they want, because if you're going to coach them, why did you bring them here?
Exactly. Exactly. And you know what? With that said, before we get into where, I want the fans to know where you grew up, how you grew up. But before, there's a video that was posted this week that got over how many? 4 million views?
It's crazy, Ray. So you and I have been planning to do this interview for a while now, right? And we set this up about 2 weeks ago. And now, ironically, we put out a video of an 11-year-old kid named Aiden Herrera and our kid, Ivan Bradford. They were sparring, I believe it was on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I believe it was on Wednesday. And both kids have been competing for years, and they're getting ready for a national tournament in Albuquerque, New Mexico in 2 weeks. So At the end of the sparring, both kids have blood on their faces. And I'll be honest, most of these kids wear that like a badge of honor, and all I did was take a little clip of them, commended them, saying, hey, man, a bloody nose happens, good work, boys, because it was a good little sparring session between two kids who have competed with and have that competitive nature. Neither kid
friends
was
at top of that.
Yeah, and friends, right? So we posted the video. And it was initially just an Instagram thing, right? An Instagram story.
Yeah.
And I started getting messages like, hey, a lot of people, good job. Look at those boys. You can tell they love it. Then I started getting people like, you guys are child abusing this. I was like, whoa, where's this go? So then all through the night, I kept getting messages. Some people negative, some people positive. So I posted it to Twitter. I go, you know what? Let me see what Twitter is. I just kind of want to get some feedback. Whoa. Over 4-point-something million views. Never did I think it was going to go. All it really was just praising two boys who had a good sparring session. And it's gone completely haywire from we're causing CTE to why are we letting kids that age spar? And and I'm telling people, I said, hey, wait a minute. This has been going on from generation to generation. Kids boxing is nothing new. At 8 years old, per USA boxing guidelines,
yes,
you can compete. People telling me like, I should be the one to get out and change that. Why? I'm not trying to change that. Look, if a parent brings their child here and they want to compete at 8 years old, we make them sign a waiver, but I make the parent understand, look, the risk, is it more you or is it the kid? And trust me, we find out right away whether it's the kid or the parent.
Yeah. And let me add to that, Henry. I'm 60 years old. I'm a lot older than you. When we sparred in El Monte at 8 years old, we didn't even have headgears. Now, mind you, as a man, again, I have 5 sons. How do we expect our sons to protect their family, to go off to war, if they can't learn to take a couple of bumps and bruises in a ring under supervision? You know what? I have a special needs son. He's had a trach in his. He has a trach. I talked to a doctor a few years back, and he says he's seen minimal in boxing and football. What he's seen probably the most, and I'm not even downing that sport, is skateboarding. Irreversible head concussions, irreversible head trauma where they're never the same. Boxing, he hasn't seen anything like that. But again, how do we expect our boys, or even the girls that are getting into boxing, how do we expect them to grow up to be men of honor, if they don't start sparring?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, the backlash and some of I get it. I totally get people being concerned about CTE and head trauma. But look, kids at 60 pounds, 10, 11 years old, they're not punching hard enough to cause trauma. In my over 25 years of boxing, I've never seen a 60-pound kid cause trauma to another kid.
Thank you.
Now, a bloody nose, yes, I'm sorry, a bloody nose goes hand in hand in a boxing gym.
But those two boys took that as like a
badge of honor. Right,
like,
right.
Man, this is cool,
right.
Man. You know what
they
I mean?
did. And so, I've spoken to a few people. I did an interview with a well-known boxing reporter yesterday about it because he touched on it. And, it's to me, if you don't want your kid in boxing, that's fine. It's not for everybody, but don't also demean anybody who does, because to some people, those kids use that as an outlet for who knows what else. And not every kid is going to aspire to be a pro fighter, but some eventually do become pro fighters and change their and their family's lives. Some use it as a way of discipline and belief, and they use that and go on to other aspects of their life, but they always circle back to like, man, some of the lessons that boxing taught me, so we're getting attacked for providing an outlet for kids almost, and they're saying, child abuse, how can you let a kid have a bloody nose? Oh, it's a fucking boxing gym,
Exactly, man. And you know what? And again, here's my opinion. The bully kids come to boxing, chin checks them. The kids with a low self-esteem come to boxing, it brings them up.
Yep, elevates them.
I've seen more, tell me if I'm wrong, Henry, I've seen more boxers, MMA fighters, boxers are very respectful.
Very respectful,
because
man.
they know what they can do.
Very respectful. Look, one of the things we preach to the kids is, look, what you're learning here it's for competition. It's for
right.
self-confidence, self-belief. It doesn't mean we want you going out there to be a bully on the schoolyard or fight kids. You know, no, that's not what it's for. It's for you to compete at whatever level you want to achieve. You know what I mean? So and I'll be honest, most of the kids we have here are great kids, man. Great kids. Pow, Red, Ivan Bradford, the kid that was in the video. I mean, we got a great nucleus of young boys, and you know, and we got some hot amateurs who are about to turn pro, and
Yeah.
you know, so those are just some of the kids, to name a few. But
Well, now that we addressed that, hey, Henry, tell the fans a little bit about Henry. Where'd you grow up at, man? How'd you grow up?
so I was born in I was actually born in Artesia. My family, a lot of my family is from the Norwalk, Artesia area. You know, I born out there, but my family migrated out here to Riverside area, and the reason why is because my grandpa and his brother. My mom was one of 14 kids. With
Wow.
13, 14, I don't know, 13 or 14 kids. So I come from a huge family on my mom's side. So I'm one of, I don't know, I think 50 first cousins or something like. Yeah, there's a lot of us. So my grandpa and his brother owned a trucking company, fertilizer company, right? And back in the day, they would haul the manure from the dairies to the mill, and you know they would go on and sell it. So they had and basically they brought the whole family out here. Riverside, the Hoopa Valley area, Mirror Loma area, Chino, Ontario. You know, so
And back in those days, there was a lot of cow country.
yeah,
out here,
yeah,
right?
a lot of cow country. You know, so I'm going to touch on this because I get asked, and people, and it's nothing I really speak about publicly, but I guess as I gotten older, I guess, you know, I feel a little more comfortable now. I always get asked, like, man, your mom and dad must be so proud of like what you've accomplished. You know, I tell people, oh, you know, I have you know, they both died when I was younger. Both parents died when I was younger. My mom died when I was 13. My dad died when I was 19. But it's not a sob story. It's not a sad story.
That's heavy.
It is, but I grew up.
heavy,
I grew up in a, like I said, a big family. So I never went without. You know, I always tell people that yeah, my mom died. I think it was a week before my 8th grade graduation, but I never felt like I went without. You know, my mom's older sister, basically, I lived with her. She became basically a second mom to me. So you know, I never grew up without. You know.
Yeah, yeah. So how about your siblings?
I have a brother and 2 sisters. There are two sisters that are older, and I have a brother that's younger.
Oh, okay.
But they're all good, man. Everybody's good. Like I said, I come from a big family, man, and you know.
And what school did you go to?
I went to Hoopa Valley High School. And it's funny because recently I started. I've caught up with some high school friends recently. You know, we're like, damn, man. You know, they'll be like, man, it's a trip seeing you on TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The guys that you know I'll talk to on social media, and we caught up, and it was good. This is recent too, so.
Yeah. So what got you into the boxing scene?
So I've always loved
your love
boxing.
for the
I
boxing,
always
pretty
loved
much?
boxing growing up.
What era were the big time fighters in your time? 'Cause again, I'm a lot older than you.
What do you mean, as far as amateur scene or like
the pros?
pros? Oh,
Growing up though.
Growing up, I mean, I remember when I was like 7, 8 years old, right? And the era that everybody talks about: Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Marvin Hagler. I'm 48.
I am
so-
old then.
Yeah. So that was the era. I remember my family would always be involved in boxing, and I remember going to some uncle's house, and everybody in the neighborhood would stop by, you know. So, but I think I had my first amateur fight. I think I was 13 or 14. But growing up, I played all sports, right? I played football, loved basketball, played baseball. I used to run cross country.
Wow.
Box. So I literally
You were
played.
just a
I
jock, huh?
loved
A Chicano
sports,
jock?
bro. Loved
That's right.
loved sports, bro. And growing up as a kid, I would read the newspaper at 5 years old. It always the sports section.
Yeah,
Always had my face in the newspaper up until like 5 years ago, and I just stopped buying it because I would buy the online subscription. So I'd always sports has always been an outlet to me. So it's weird that I ended up. It's not really weird that I ended up becoming a coach and a manager, a fighter. So sports has always been an outlet to me.
So you had a little amateur career in boxing.
Yeah. I think I would have 30-something fights. 30-something fights.
That's
yeah.
that's a
yeah.
career,
I boxed for I think it was 8 years here at the old Lincoln gym.
Yeah. I
On
remember
14th,
Lincoln
on
Gym,
14th and Victoria. It was on the campus of
Who was
Lincoln.
the old man that always said
Pop. Oh, so there was various factions of that. There was Pops Campbell, older black gentleman who was an old school trainer. Then there was Larry Rios, who was more of the community guy, who was the staple. And then there was the guy who I trained under, Andy Suarez. Andy Suarez was
he passed.
he passed in '06. Very good old school, very good knowledgeable trainer.
And he had his son.
Yeah, his son was good, man. Rough around the edges.
Yes, very rough.
Andy was rough around the edge, but man, he was very knowledgeable about boxing. And
we got to get him on here to interview.
no. So his son, Mark Suarez, man, I remember seeing him. I'm like, man, this guy's good, man. He was a kid. He's 15 years old, and he ended up having a big amateur career, turned pro. Fought for the world title. So he had a good career. But Andy trained all kinds of fighters. I mean, he was Josecito Lopez's original trainer. He also trained Monchis, Monchis Torres, who's Ricardo Sandoval's trainer. So we all kind of came from that same tree, so to speak. He
the stock there. The roots all started there. Yeah. Did he train Chris too?
No. He
that was your guy.
That was my guy. But Chris, Chris and I are only 5 years apart. So Chris obviously started in East LA, migrated out here, and then Andy and Mark knew him. Yeah. Chris always tells the story that Mark kicked my ass when I was a kid. He was my first loss when they were amateur boys. You know what I mean? So, but when did I meet Chris? I met Chris back in around 2000, maybe about 2000, somewhere 1999, 2000. So, but yeah, those were some fun times at the old Lincoln Gym, man. It was a great.
So in your amateur career, what was your record?
I want to say. I think I lost around 10 of the fights. I made 27 and 10.
And in amateurs, tell me if I'm wrong, Henry, it's hard to win in amateurs.
It's hard, bro. I tell people, like, if your kid is, like, kind of 50-50, he's good. He's good. Yeah, because it depends. Like, the amateur style is different, obviously, from the pro style. And people,
point system, safety issue.
Yeah, a lot of safety measures. And then, like say 8 to 10-year-old kids, they're fighting in 1 minute round. So the round's over quick, and then when the kids get to 11 and 12, I think it goes up to a minute and a half. Then you get to 14 and 15, the rounds go to 2 minutes. So you start to get a little more of a transit. So amateur success doesn't always equal pro success, but yeah, the amateurs, the scoring is difficult at times because sometimes you might score a knockdown. And in the pros, that could sway a fight. And the amateurs, it really doesn't count. Doesn't count.
Yeah. So when did you start saying, you know what, I think I'm gonna start training?
So funny you mentioned this. So I remember telling Andy Suarez, like, man, I'm done. I'm tired. I was like working a regular job, and I was still trying to train in the afternoon. So I understand how difficult it is for some guys now. So I remember I got to a point, I said, Andy, I think I'm going to be done. He goes, ayúdame, vete a ayudarme. And I'm like, damn, that means, come help me, come help me train. And at the time, Josecito Lopez was probably 12, 13. His son Mark was, I want to say he had just turned pro. He had a couple pro fights under his belt. So all the running around and going to the amateur shows, I was like, damn, we were doing. I was like, do I really want to do this? So
it's a lot. It's
a lot of work, man. It's time consuming. It's a big commitment, and so it ends up migrating into helping them. Then I'll go with them with Mark Suarez's fights, and then we turn Josecito Lopez pro, and then. So now we're starting to get a movement. Then we got a couple other pro fighters. So now we're doing amateurs, got some pros. And this was about maybe 2001, around, maybe a little bit. I started helping them around 2000, 2001. And then it really got going 2003, 2004. Like we had turned Chris pro. He was helping me with Chris. We had turned Chris pro. We had Josecito Lopez pro. We had a guy named Alex Viramontes at the time. So little by little, we're starting to get guys going, and then, Chris, Chris was starting to make a move. Josito had more fights under his belt.
But for Henry Ramirez, was Chris your first?
Chris was my
like,
first.
This is my
first fighter. Chris was my first fighter on my own. And then, unfortunately, Andy Suarez died in 2006.
Yeah, just had that heart attack. No.
Yeah, no, it was weird because I remember him having to go to court for like a ticket or something, right? And I remember him telling me, hey, I might not be here tomorrow because I got to go to court for a ticket that I didn't pay or something. So I remember him, the next day, I remember like, damn, Andy didn't show up to the gym. Like, next day goes by, and then we find out that he passed. You know what I mean? Like, oh, shit. So then I remember his son had
Mark took it real hard.
Yeah, he did. Mark took it real hard. He had a fight set. Mark had a fight set like 3 weeks later, and he decided to pull out. Josecito went ahead with his fight. And then, he died in 2006. And then from there, certain guys went their own way. Certain guys stuck with us. And then it kind of pushed me to the forefront. Like, all right, like you're.
Yeah.
So, but as that was already going on, I was already starting to learn the business a little bit. I would have countless conversations with like Alex Campanovo and Brad Goodman from Top Rank and just my dealings and interactions with things. And I just started learning the business side, which is people, if you don't know, there's the sport and then there's the business of boxing. And it's completely different. And it's completely different, and that has really helped me, now and in the last few 5, 6, 7 years, because not only do I train all my guys, I also manage all my guys also, so it's basically like being the coach and the GM of a football team. So
you got to be, you're besides training them, now you're figuring out who they're going to fight.
Right. The purse, everything involved.
Yeah.
So everything in between. So I would always get asked, hey, Henry, like, who sets up all your fights? All your guys are busy. Like, me.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is built on relationships, contacts that you have through the years. And, I have a great relationship with Alex Campanovo, who was the general manager and basically ran the Thompson boxing shows for 23 plus years. And we had countless guys there over the years. And, I developed a good relationship with Roy Engelbrick and all the local promoters, and then, we signed Chris Arreola with Al Heyman way before everybody in the world wanted to be with them. We signed him.
Right?
We signed.
That's crazy to know, yeah.
Chris Arreola was one of the first fighters Al Heyman ever signed. When we signed Chris with Al, it was Chris, Jermaine Taylor, Andre Berto, who else? Antonio Tarver.
That's when Chris fought at the Toyota Center. Then it was called something else.
Yeah, but we're talking 2004 was when we signed with Al Heyman, and we started developing a relationship with him over the years. And naturally, as years went by, I was able to get Josecito Lopez signed with them, and we worked with other guys signed with Al.
And he's one of the top promoters in the world,
right? Right. No, and then and I've worked with Golden Boy, everybody, pretty much everybody, but the ones that I had probably the longest tenured relationship would be Al Heyman and Campanovo. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So when it came to Chris, tell us a little bit about that relationship, because again, Chris has brought us some action.
Right.
Win or lose, he brings it, bro.
Chris is a character, man. He really is a character. What you see is really what you get.
I always clown and say, when me and Chris used to spar, sometimes Chris would tell me, hey, go easy, hey, Chris could beat me on his worst day, bro.
Yeah, Chris is a character, man. He was also a handful and a pain in the ass to deal with. But, I learned so much through all those years of working with him. And I've taken that to obviously the guys that I work with now. But, it's a little different now because the guys that I work with now, I'm not so close in age as Chris and I were. Chris and I were also very good friends. You know what I mean? So we know a lot of
that makes a difference.
I don't know. Some people say, well, maybe because it was you guys were such close friends, and maybe because this, that. I mean, look, he did great.
I would think, as long as there's respect when it's training time. You know what I mean?
But yeah, Chris was a handful, man. He was a handful because I pretty much dealt with everything.
Yeah.
Far beyond boxing, and that's about as far as I'm going to get into it. But everything that he dealt with in his life kind of ended up on my lap, and that it was a lot. Yeah. But we have a great relationship. Even when he decided to go work with Joe, him and I's relationship did not change. Our friendship did not change. I
And
was
that's
still
crazy.
involved. Yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong. When he went with Joe, weren't you still in the corner?
Yeah, I was still in the corner. Yeah. So, yeah. So, I mean,
That says a lot
yeah.
about loyalty.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
On,
So,
on
you know,
Chris's side, you know.
I mean, I tell people, I trained Chris for 17 years. I think that was the longest relationship I've ever had.
Yeah.
But he's back here training now. I mean, where yeah. So when he gets ready to fight, he might be fighting in April. He's already started training here, so we're gonna get him ready for his
Awesome.
last.
And you know, Chris
fight.
always brings it, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So who else do you have under your belt right now?
So right now, pro wise, we have Louis Lopez, a guy who's here out of Corona. I've been training him since he was, I think, 15 years old. He's 27 now. He was with us at my old gym. Remember Indian Willie, my cut man? So let me tell you a funny story. So Indian Willie, we had he had built a gym. So we were at Lincoln Gym. Remember I told you Lincoln? And Lincoln was kind of a free for all. There was 20 different trainers there, just a lot of commotion. And as Chris started making some headway and Josecito started, you know, he wasn't there yet, but Indian goes, I'm going to build a gym at the house. I said, why? He goes, I'm just tired of all the drama here. Little by little, time goes by, Ray. Sure enough, he built a fucking gym, right?
At the bottom
bottom of the hill, metal building. So it was great, man. So private. And at first, I resisted because I still wanted to be involved with the amateur. You know, you're not going to get a kid walking in off the street like you would there, right? So I'm like, you know what? After a couple of days we trained there, everybody was like, yeah, dude, we're never going back to Lincoln. Sure enough, we never did. So we trained there for, I think, 8 years until Indian had died. But I had already gotten involved with the startup of Raincross. And you know, when I moved over here after Indian died, I mean, to be honest, the place, it exploded, man. We started getting amateurs from kids that were moving from other gyms and you know, what have you. So
You got a good little Filipino kid, no? Is that his
yeah,
nationality?
Pal.
Filipino?
Yeah, he's Filipino. So I know it's everybody asks me about Pal now. Pal's a national champion, you know, a pretty talented kid. He's got a chance, Ray, and I've never put this on a fighter. He's got a chance to do something special, to be special.
Wow.
He's that good. He's that good, and I'm a big believer in never blowing up a fighter, like seeing for what they are, you know. So for people to tell me like, damn, you don't ever put that label on someone unless you feel it. And he's got a chance to be special. But
How old is he now?
17. He'll be turning pro in October.
And I think I first met him when he was like 7 or 8.
Yeah, he's been around boxing
little guy, man.
whole life. But you know, going back to the pros, you know, we have Louis Lopez from Corona. He'll be fighting March 30th. We have Nelson Oliva, 10-0, power punching lefty that was in LA, moved out here about 5 years ago, been with us now. I have Richard Brewer making his return. He's 13-1.
He's always been a good action fighter.
Good fighter. We have AJ Saldivar. He's 5-0. He's a 154 pounder. We have Marcos Hernandez coming up on ESPN in 2 weeks.
Hear that out, guys. In 2 weeks, Henry's got a fight on ESPN.
Yeah, Marcos Hernandez taking on Troy Isley.
And that date will be when?
March 2nd.
March 2nd. This interview will drop next Friday. I forget the date.
And we've also got I got a heavyweight, Oscar Torres, 9-0. Who else? Joshua Conley, who's a good 154 pounder. So, you know, we're fairly busy. Thankfully we're fairly busy. What else? Oh, we're also doing our own show. We're also throwing our own show. So I partnered with one of the fathers here. He's like, we train his amateur son, right? And he's like, I want to get my promoter's license. I'm like, no, you don't. He's like, yeah, I want to do a show. I'm like, no, you don't, right? So the way I caution parents about the risks of boxing, I had a caution. I said, Robert, doing a show, I want you to understand, it's a huge financial risk. Yeah. And I want you to understand that and acknowledge that going in. He's like, I understand that, and I want to do it. So we're throwing the show, Ray, March 23rd here at the Loom Cooler Center in Ontario. It's got me a little out of my element because I'm a trainer and manager of fighters. Now I've had to do
matchmaking,
all the ins and outs of the throw, the right paramedic, the seats, the insurance of the venue, the this, the, all right.
And you're a jack of all trades.
Yeah, bro. Like, how much are we gonna charge for parking? What beer are we gonna sell? It's bro. So we meet up weekly. We kind of go over things, and then matching the fight, getting the tickets out to the fighters who are on the event.
Make sure you get some good-looking referees.
Right.
I mean, come on, Holmes.
making sure,
Get up.
making sure the fighters that we've got for opponents, their medicals are done. So it's a lot, bro. Having to book travel for the fighters who are coming from out of town to fight the local guys, figuring out what hotel we're gonna put them up in. I mean, from A to Z, bro. A to Z. So it's
a headache in
it's
itself,
been a
bro.
headache. It's been a headache, but it's good though. It's good because I want to ensure that our first event is a successful one, and if it goes good, we can continue trying to give another a platform for some local aspiring pro fighters. You know what I mean? So it's not easy though. It's definitely not easy, and it is time consuming, and it's a lot.
So let's get to the nitty gritty here. Your opinion.
All right. Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things that I always ask the trainers is, what do you think about the father and son teams? Your opinion, because obviously some work.
Right, some work.
And some, as a referee, I've seen some fathers like, what the hell are you doing, bro?
So I think in my experience with Ray, I think most fathers, when they're the trainer, they don't see reality.
Thank you.
They don't see reality. And fighters are going to be their ears are going to be filled with bullshit by girlfriend, boyfriend, family, this, that, whatever, right? But the father usually is the worst in seeing things that he doesn't, I pride myself on being honest with the fighter. Like, let somebody else fill their head with bullshit. It's not going to be me.
Yeah.
But when I do praise them a little bit, it's going to mean a little bit more like, holy shit, okay.
Yeah.
But fathers it's tricky because, well, Ray, you're a father. Your son boxed. Was it hard for you to detach? Was it hard for you to separate?
My son Adrian detached from me before I detached.
So
You know what I mean?
maybe he kind of already
knew, like, you're telling me something you don't know, Dad.
Right.
Or when he got a little hard sparring, I'd be the first to, you know what I mean? I want to take him out of deep water,
Right.
And this is why when I took him to Ben, every trainer has their rules, but Ben goes, I've known Ben since 8 years old,
Right.
bro. He trained me as an amateur. But Ben goes, my rule. I don't even want you in the gym.
Ben's a fucking legend, man.
I couldn't even be in the ring.
Damn.
In the gym, bro.
Damn.
I haven't seen Adrian spar in probably 3 years. Man.
So Ben's hardcore. That's where Abel's the same way, bro. I don't have a problem with so a lot of the fathers, when they'll be sitting chilling, but as soon as their son gets ready to spar, they're on the ring, which is fine. I want them to be involved.
But you say the same thing that Ben says.
Yep.
I don't want to hear your mouth.
I don't want to hear your mouth. I don't want to hear you coaching. You know what I mean? So that's, and look, I've seen dads where the fighter gets out and the dad's just giving them a look and fucking pissed. Say they don't have, you know what I tell them? Bro, why does it bother you? You weren't the one getting hit. He was the one in there. Or when you leave that door, hopefully he's not getting chewed out on the way home.
Yeah.
Maybe because I don't have a son that boxes, maybe I don't see it from their perspective. You know what I mean? But I've been
you have a daughter, right?
Yeah, I have a daughter.
And you want her to be the best.
Right, of course.
And
So
I would like to think there's no such thing as perfection, but I would like to think that I perfected that part where I know when Adrian came home from the gym with Ben, I never asked him, how'd your sparring go?
Right.
Because what am I going to say? If he says, well, I didn't go too good, what am I going to say?
Right.
Oh, well, you should have done better, or you did great. I wasn't there. So I just pretty much knew my boundaries.
Right.
Because the way Ben raised me.
Right.
But I do understand how you say, you know what, I've gone go practice refereeing. I've seen how fathers get involved. And I've seen some trainers will say, hey, bro, I don't want to hear that. Well, he's my son. And this is why if you don't have that relationship, like, hey, this is my gym.
Let me
I'm
tell
your
you something.
trainer.
The kids, especially the amateur kids, the kids, Ray, who are the most successful in our amateur program are the ones where the dads completely have trust and let us be. Now, we've had some dads that try to get involved. We have some dads who try, and I tell them, all right, cool. Go ahead and start sticking your nose in. I'm going to go ahead and detach myself. They're going to get less and less attention because you don't want to seem to get it. The kids that have, the dads that have complete faith and let them be coached are the ones in this gym, are the ones succeeding, excelling, and the most advanced.
And this goes to the, and tell me if I'm wrong, Henry, because you're a trainer, I'm not. The ones that, the father-son teams that do succeed, they just stick with them.
Right,
That's
yeah.
Just
yeah.
you and me,
Yep.
and that's it.
Yeah.
They don't have a second coach.
Yeah, they don't have a second
They
coach.
just you and him.
And I look, I'm sure it's tough, and most of the kids were brought into the sport because their dad had a genuine love for the sport, but it's tough. It is a tough, because I've heard so many different stories about how at some point, Ray, the some fathers that are training their son, they gotta ask themselves, what's more important to me, being a father or being his coach? Because a lot of times it just doesn't seem to
And
mesh.
me, it was being a father.
Yeah.
Being a father.
I'm going to give you an example. We had this one dad. I'm not going to name him, but he was a real piece of shit. He was a real piece of shit. We started training the kid around the same time Pal came here, right? Like 7, 8 years old. So we put years into the boy, and the dad starts taking him somewhere, places on his own, spar. And the kid comes to the gym and goes, man, I'm tired. I go, why are you so tired? Well, my dad took me to spar this morning. I said, what the fuck? So I pulled the dad in the back. Hey, why are you taking your son to spar? Like, he's going to spar? Well, I don't feel I have to ask you. I go, wait. Bro, listen, I put 5 years into your kid. We're not charging you. It's all on my time. Like, there's a respect thing.
Yeah.
He would tell me, you let Pal's dad take him sometime? You're right. I'll let Pal's dad take him if I'm busy. But this is all communicated in advance. I'm finding out because your son. And why would you want your kid sparring twice a day? I go, you're a fucking idiot. I told him straight, end up being that after a while, and I kept trying to hold on to the kid. And the other parents were like, get rid of the fucking dad. Finally, I got rid of the dad, never looked back, and I was glad to get rid of his ass.
Yeah. Yeah. And the sad part about that kid, or I take that father won't see that until the kid's like a man already. He's like, what the F did I do? You know what I mean?
So I was glad to get him out of here because, like I said, the dad ended up being a real piece of shit.
So another question that the fans always ask: what do you feel about fighters that jump from trainer to trainer? And I'm talking about from a young age.
It happens. Look. There's times we'll get a kid, right? And when they come for another gym, I might ask them, "Hey, what happened over there? What happened? Oh, they're not taking me to fight. They're not this." And I said, "Okay, and us, if let me backtrack real quick, Ray. So the Southern California scene, amateur boxing pro is the busiest scene in the country, right?
We're rich of fighters,
right? There's fights everywhere, every weekend in the Southern Cal. So whenever a kid comes, I'll be like, well, there's 40 shows a year here. Why aren't you fighting? I tell, look, if there's only 2 reasons why you're not fighting. 1, you don't really want to fight, or 2, your coach is lazy. They're not taking you. But if they're not taking you, there might be a reason beyond that.
No.
Maybe you're not ready. Maybe you're not this. So now look, there's kids that'll come, and I'll watch them work out, and we start with like, okay, why aren't they going? Maybe that gym is fucking lazy. Excuse me. But one thing we press, Ray, is if you have no plans on competing, we got no plans on spending time with you, because I'm not going to take time away from kids who have been here. So there are gyms, fight kids who trainer hop from trainer to trainer to trainer. But I always kind of look at it, okay, what's going on? And look, we've had kids that have been here and they're gone they're not, like we had a kid a couple years ago who was here. Then he left to a gym. He's on his fifth gym, right? And the dad went from just being here, helping, and we're like, this dad wants a fucking coach, dude. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Yeah. But now the gym that they're at now, which is probably their 5th gym, I see the dad helping this. I go, 2 fucking years ago, you see what I mean? Yeah. So kids that trainer hop, something usually with the parents, parents maybe feel a kid ain't getting a certain amount of time, or not getting the attention. But look, here, I'm big on this. if you could walk into a gym, right? If a brand new kid could walk into my gym Monday, never boxed, and I could drop everything for him, that's not the gym you want to be at. Why is that? Because, I mean, they ain't got shit going on. There's a reason for that. You know what I mean?
So you gotta, when you're in here, you gotta. I'm here for 4 hours. I got to work with him today. I got to work with him tomorrow. I'll work with you, and so
look, there's kids that have been with us 8-9 years. They're getting all the attention they need.
But they're dedicated.
They're dedicated. So I tell people, for you to start getting me to take time away from them, I got to see something in you. First of all, it starts with being here all the time. There is no off season in boxing. Now are we Neanderthals? No. I understand that after we take a kid to compete, take a week off. Go be a kid. Go eat whatever you want. Go hang out, play video games, whatever.
Go be a kid.
But some of these kids who we've had for years and they're on the national level, fight all the big national events. I'll tell them after Albuquerque, I'm going to tell these guys, I don't want to see you for at least a week. And if it's two, go have fun. Now, the kids who are learning, say we take them to their first amateur show, their first fight. They do good, or no matter how it goes, they're like, okay, good, see you in a couple days. Take a couple days off.
I want to interrupt you real quick. Did you hear what Henry said? If I take a kid to his first show, it doesn't matter how it goes. That says a lot about Henry. He's teaching them the fundamentals of self-defense. He's teaching them the fundamentals of just work ethic. And he's not. And this is again, not to blow smoke, bro. And this is why I praise you that you're here to teach kids fundamentals. You're not, hey, well, you're going to be a pro or you're going to be a big time amateur. You want to learn? You come in here and show dedication. I'm going to show it right back.
Right. No, absolutely. No, like I said, not everybody's going to be.
I mean, look at me. I was canvasback Corona with Ben Lira Holmes, but he always showed me love.
Right. I mean? So one of the things, like, look, we want the kids to win, but look at, man, if a kid loses at 9 or 10-year-old fight, I'm like, hey, you see the little kid crying, you give him, man, it's not the end of the world. Right. You're gonna dust yourself off. Right. And I always tell kids, did you fight hard? Yeah. Did you try your best? Yeah. Then that's all we can ask for. That's all we can ask for. Like, Ray, like, when you can tell who works with pro fighters and who doesn't. Okay, we'll go to a 9 or 10-year-old, amateur show. 9-year-old kid, when you'll see the dad or the coach jump up like they fucking just won the Super Bowl, right? World title. Our kid wins.
There you go.
Our kid loses. I clap for the other. You're never gonna get a different reaction out of me. It's the same. I'll clap if we win. Clap if we lose for the other kid
too. You clap for the opponent.
Yeah, bro. Pros, it's a little different. It's a business, right? It's a profession. The bigger the fight, obviously there's a financial thing attached to it. So it's a different thing. But it's funny when I see a kid or not the kid. I love to see the kid. I never get tired of seeing the little boy jump up, or when they're on their knee waiting for them to announce, and they announce, they hear them, they jump out of it. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah. That's pure, right? Pure enjoyment of a kid. But I laugh when I see the coach. Yeah, man, like, relax, bro. Let's chill out, bro. Like, you're 40-something years old. Calm the fuck down, But the kids, you never get tired of seeing a kid, the joy of them. They get the trophy, and then sometimes you'll see another little kid crying, and I'll go to the other side and, hey, man, keep it up, man. No worries, keep working,
All right, let's get down with an ugly question and some questions that probably hurt. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. If you want the full interview, get on Patreon. Subscribe, guys. Thank you. God bless.